Hello and welcome to day 19 of the TooFatLardies Advent Calendar. I'm getting a bit excited now as the missus has put some presents under the tree and my younger daughter has just arrived home from Australia in time for the festivities to begin. And before that, we have the excitement of another window on the calendar to open. Let's have a look. The defenestration of lard. Today is a special day when we play our Christmas party game, the defenestration of lard.
The defenestration of lard.
Right, okay, well that was a bit dramatic. The defenestration of lard allows you to hurl one aspect of wargaming out of the metaphorical window to be dashed on the rocks below. What do you wish to defenestrate and why? Well, I think I might be a bit predictable here. I'm not really sure how candid I should be. Okay. Competition wargaming. Hold on a minute though. Let's not jump to conclusions. I'll give you some background to this. Competition wargaming all began in 1966 when Don Featherstone, a blast from the past, organised the first UK National Wargames Championship. 1966. I've seen pictures, lots of chaps in jackets and ties playing spiffing games with presumably lashings of ginger beer to keep them going. What struck me from the photos that I've seen of it was that the tables looked like typical 1960s war games. Terrain was obviously limited by what was available in those days, usually model railway kits, as it was actually for me in the 1970s. The Airfix farmhouse and all those different things were ubiquitous on war games tables, even for ancient games. But the games being played back then in 66 looked just like all the other games in Don's books. Clearly, he'd taken time to make them look as attractive possible, put some effort in. And I guess that in 1966, this event was the pinnacle of wargaming fun in the UK, and everyone attended was undoubtedly blown away with what they'd encountered. And that's just what every wargames event should be. Things get better over time, things change over time. We're a lot more cynical now. What it takes to impress us now is a lot more than it took back in the 70s and 80s. But nevertheless, a wargames event should inspire. When we go down the club with our mates, we can grab a few old threadbare trees out of the cupboard and chuck them on the table. If we're running a game at Salute or Partisan or Historicon, then we need to take into account that what we're putting on the table is not what we're doing with a group of close friends. We're now ambassadors to the hobby. We are elevated. We are in that shop window. It was only a few years ago that a Wargames convention, I saw a table where there was an 8-inch square piece of green felt with a lone tree on it representing a wood. A friend of mine was there and he looked at it and rolled his eyes, and I could understand his frustration. I mean, this was a national event that was attracting an international crowd. And sadly, whilst this game might have been great for a club game, it didn't really cut the mustard for such an event. Fortunately, the majority of the games on display were of a far, far higher standard. You could see that those who were attending for the first time, especially youngsters, looking on with amazement in their eyes. It was a bit like that children looking in a sweet shop, you know, those Victorian pictures that you see. In amazement at what was on offer. You know, if the hobby's going to flourish, that's when we need that type of game to be our shop window, to inspire, to make people want to play a game that looks like that. And this is where I complete the circle. If in 1966, Don Featherstone, with such a limited selection of terrain suitable for wargaming available to him, was able to create tables for a competition game that looked every bit as good as the other games he played, then why do so many competition games we see at public events look like the terrain has been found in a box left over from 1984? The year, not the film. Now, in the interest of declaration of the truth, I don't play competition games. It really doesn't appeal to me. However, I have got absolutely nothing against people who play competitions or against the competitions they play. They all seem to be enjoying it and having a great time. But again, we find that it's the same issue, that if you're in the shop window of the hobby, you should be making an effort. Until very recently, One Wargame Show, a major UK show that fielded a mix of competition and demonstration games, had as its website header photo a row of empty green tables set up for competitions that were as flat as a pancake. They were about as inspiring as a bag of cold sick. And if any wannabe gamer was trawling the internet thinking, I really want to get into wargaming, that site would have not inspired them or prompted them to attend the do unless they had a particular interest in lime green flat tables. My item for defenestration is not competition gaming, but it is games at public events into which no effort has been put, and that do not show the hobby in a positive light. I'm sure that some Wargames competitions do make the effort, and I wish them luck, but there does honestly seem to be a far greater acceptance in that arena of unpainted models on the table that can, in absolute honesty, look completely and utterly uninspiring. Especially when we bear in mind that competition games are always inward-looking. The players are wrapped up in their games. They're never going to be interacting effectively with punters who've walked in to see what they're doing. So they're already falling short of the welcoming approach that the hobby needs to have to encourage newcomers to come and join us. And with that in mind, they need to make sure that what they do have on offer has the visual appeal to compensate for that lack of interaction. Now, it's my hope that by chucking effortless games out of the window this year, that somebody out there in the world of competition gaming will recognise that they really do need to do better if they're going to be the ambassadors for the hobby that they should be, if they're going to be that hook that is going to inspire people to want to get involved with wargaming. And if they can change to get their games looking that bit better, then they're going to avoid going out of the window next year when we rerun this. Hopefully somebody's listening.